some of the lessons that I've learned through that is that, success means nothing when you're alone. It is more rewarding when you do something special with a group of people and you do it together.
Justin,
September 19th.
September 12th.
12th, okay.
September 12th, 2019.
There you go, 2019.
Yes.
See?
I called you. No, I actually texted you.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, would love to have a chat with you when you get a chance. You called me, and then we FaceTimed
Yeah.
for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And you had absolutely no reason, nothing to get out of it, except like pouring into me and giving me some advices that will help me with my business at that time.
How did that help your business?
It did help me because I always look for people that where they are, where I'm gonna go. Because if I learn from you, you will fast forward like probably like a couple years of my life in 6 months by allowing me to avoid the stuff that you had to go through yourself to get to where you are. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you. We're being blessed to have kind of established a deep brotherhood relationship, a friendship that I'm always gonna be grateful for. And watching you growing your team and get to know you more on a personal level, I have a little bit of an insight behind the Justin, the person behind the scene, not Justin on every single billboard in the city here. So I get to see behind the scenes stuff. So from a business standpoint, like successfully, the team managed to do 9,000 transactions, helping 9,000 people, 9,000 families, with over 4 billion of real estate sales volume in the last 6 years. The number one team in RE/MAX Canada for the last 5 consecutive years and number 3 in the world. How's that feel? Looking back now, how does that feel?
I mean, you know what? It's been a journey, and I mean, it's, again, I think many of us have a little bit of a competitive edge to us, which is not a bad thing, but it also helps kind of drive the team forward as a team. It's like, a hockey team winning the Stanley Cup championship. Every season starts over again, and you have to start at the bottom to kind of work your way up and try to win the Stanley Cup again.
You won the number one, that was last year. Now you're gonna have to earn it again.
Yeah. So we start over again, right? Some of that's just kind of part of just business fun.
Gotcha.
It's what I look at it, and also being competitive with my friends and colleagues throughout the country as well, because I'm friends with many of the other top teams. And, we have a little bit of fun banter here and there, but, it doesn't really change how I feel.
Gotcha.
It's an accomplishment, but, after you receive the award, you just carry on and you're like, okay.
We're all firmly believer that what's harder than getting in the top is actually staying in the top to prove that, hey, I'm worthy of staying there. I earned it, I'm gonna keep earning it every year. You've been proving that year over and over. You're also forward thinking, always looking for what's next. How can you better the organization, opportunities for the team? How can you evolve? How can you advance the whole entire business? Now, having that massive success with one of the world's largest, most dominant brands, which is RE/MAX, walk me through the thought process. Well, I'll do that. I called you in 2020.
Yeah, you called me in 2020.
Yeah, I called you in 2020.
You were deciding to leave Keller Williams. For the reasons that you had. And you were looking at what to do next and where to take your team next. And I believe I was trying to push RE/MAX onto you, that you should talk to so-and-so and get either a sub-brokerage or a franchise.
How come I didn't listen?
Well, good question.
I did listen, actually.
Well,
I did listen.
You know what? We all listen, but you know what the neat thing that happened in that conversation was, and again, I think it's very important for all of us when we're running a business, especially when you're running a team. Is always have that awareness of the different business models that are out there and study them, see what you can learn from them. Are there things that you can take from those business models to apply to your business model 100%. And make small little tweaks? And
isn't it how we all grew our businesses?
Of course, yeah.
Like we collaborated. I was Keller Williams, you were with RE/MAX, always shared your book.
Number one Keller Williams team in Canada.
Yep.
Right? And it's when you said, you were considering eXp.
And I didn't know it was eXp though. I said, Justin, I need to get out of where I am because I hit the ceiling, and it cannot be that way. There must be somewhere outside I need to go to.
Yeah.
Then you told me to go to Remax.
Yeah.
And we have a very close friend of ours. He said, like, hey, call her, just go to Remax. You were very like, and I understand. And I'm like, if Justin tells me to do that, I will do it. So I looked at the numbers. We're both immigrant. We're both ESL. ESL.
I actually went to ESL class.
I didn't.
I did. I got taken away from my classroom and put in a smaller classroom for ESL. So I know what that was like.
Okay. So that being said, we have an accent when it comes to English. I do. You don't.
I still do in some words.
But there is one language that we speak fluently and we don't have an accent in it. What is it?
1 + 1.
The language numbers,
Yeah.
the math. Math is a bath. So I took your advice and I'm like, okay, well, let's just put some numbers together. It honestly, genuinely didn't make any sense. Like the math just didn't add up.
Yeah, and you know what? That conversation, led to also me having conversations with also looking at, franchise and brokerage opportunities for myself as well. And kind of sitting there looking at, the math and looking at the obligations, looking at, again, when you like building something, you want to build a business that one day you hope that you can sell.
Yep.
Because, again, I had, some interesting conversations with the people that were trying to sell me a franchise. Because I even said here in this marketplace, I said, how many of these models are currently for sale? And, I could probably guess probably a handful of them would sell if they had a buyer. And my question to them directly was, if it's such a good business investment,
why are entrepreneurs not snapping them?
Why aren't entrepreneurs and business-minded people picking them up and buying them left, right, and center? And, I was essentially offered one for next to nothing.
I offered one at Keller Williams too.
Yeah, and...
You know what my response was? I looked at the numbers respectively, and I'm like, I will buy a gas station that will make me more money than buying that brokerage.
Yeah. The reality is, again, it has, the brokerage model has been incredibly successful for many, many years. And, still there are many that are successful.
Yep.
But, the one thing that I was looking at is like, okay, well, if I want to retire, not if, but it's a matter of when I want to retire, who is going to buy that asset that I'm going to invest my time, money to grow, and if I want to sell it, looking at the landscape here in this marketplace, there aren't a lot of buyers. And if there are buyers, it's more of a seller finance creative deal where the owner isn't necessarily cashing out.
Yeah.
And I kind of struggle with that whole concept of investing more money and time into something that...
Into buying a brokerage, franchise.
Yeah, in many cases, if you were to just kind of look at any sort of brokerage, ABC, Realty, or whatever it is, it's typical that the broker owner has to sell in order to be profitable. And in many instances, they have just basically created themselves a salaried job.
Yep.
And I know that I can operate a team, make more profit doing that, and have less liability. And I also know that me personally, I don't need a brokerage. I don't need to say I'm a broker owner or, because again, I know that this is the natural path that the industry has laid out for us.
Automatically, we were programmed for that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just kind of, that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Right? And again, looking back at, Remax First, which again, Rick and Cliff, incredible human beings, incredible business partners, and, even being there for, over 9 years, it was, again, a great experience, but at the same time, it also, it was like my business need to evolve and go to the next step, and it's not a brokerage.
It is not about the brokerage. It's not about like the people. They're amazing brokerage, amazing leader is the system that will allow me to grow within.
Yeah.
I remember I had this conversation with you. I'm like, I will have to leave a lot of good relationships at Keller Williams that I have built.
Yeah.
And then you had to remind me, hey, it is never about the relationships, it's about the business itself. If you had a good relationship with those people, truly it will continue carry on whether you're in the brokerage or not.
Yeah.
And that kind of like made I'm like, okay, I got it.
And you know what? And it's always about, you know, it's the hardest thing when you're connected to people and you care about them.
Yep.
And, you know, I've thought long and hard about the impact that if I was to ever take my business somewhere else, the impact that it would have on everyone within that brokerage. And it was something that weighed heavy on me for many years. And, you know, but at the end of the day, too, I also have an obligation with the people that I serve
100%.
And partner with on the team. And kind of looking at, you know, when you first started, when you laid out the model, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had hundreds of calls over the years.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, I mean, offered, you know.
How many calls you got to recruit you to eXp?
Hey man, can you get on the phone? Somebody wants to invite you to a yacht with billionaires and da-da-da-da and this and that. And I'm like, you know, just shake off my leg. Like, it's just, come on. Like, it was just not.
I remember the first time I told you about eXp, like I told you about like I'm thinking of exploring the option. She's like eXp, are you serious, Ibrahim? I'm like, Justin, listen, I understand. I dislike it for the same reason, because same thing. I get like a million phone calls, emails, sit down, let's have a coffee. But then I'm like, I learned that a principle growing up is never judge the system by its followers. Judge the system by the system itself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're drinking tea here. I'm like, I may have a problem with how the mug is being shaped, the person who's delivering the coffee for me, but I have no problem with the actual product itself inside. So if I can put that product in a better marketed like mug or a cup, I will actually enjoy it. And then the person who's delivering it also has a nice attitude, that's even better.
Yeah.
That was my issue with eXp. I'm like, it's not about the model itself, but it took me 2 years and 3 months, Justin. You were involved in the whole process. 2 years and 3 months until we made the move, because of the same reasons that you're just mentioning.
Yeah. But then once you got to see the model and understand it, where you took out who gave you the cup or try to get you to have the cup, and you got to look at the ingredients and how it's structured, and that's when I went, shit. You know, I had man, I'm gonna have to like take my shoe off and eat it, because I had, you know, again, I had judgment towards the model because, and you know what? I'm gonna be completely transparent here. I didn't understand it. I did not understand the model. I hadn't taken the time to understand the model. I hadn't taken the time to study it. And once I started to understand it and see how it's structured, I'm going, man, this is like the next revolution of the brokerage model, where, you know, again, it removes certain components. It removes the franchisee, the region, and so forth. And now you just have, you know, headquarters and the agent. And being that it's cloud-based, the technologies that it can offer in the partnership, I mean, we're excited about some of the things that are just going to make it easier for the agents to do a transaction. And on top of that, how, you know, again, the brokerage incentivizes the agents by helping the brokerage grow. And I know that, you know, for myself, I know that Remax flew into Calgary and they had a meeting with all the broker owners. and they asked all the broker owners, can you tell us why Justin Howard Associates is responsible for 50% of the growth of RE/MAX in a year? And of course, anybody would ask me, hey, Justin, what's it like to work at RE/MAX First? Oh, awesome. As a matter of fact, I mean, even a year ago, I told a team leader who just recently were at 29 agents over to RE/MAX First. You know, and again, you're always going to recommend where you are at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and again,
we say accidentally you're going to have people joining the brokerage that you're at.
Yeah, because
we're in a relationship business anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing where I was the 9 years before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I brought people there too.
100%.
Right? But then when you start to kind of look at the business model and you start to see that, you know what, you know, I always looked at it as like, oh yeah, sure, it's good for the guys at the top. And you know, it's a pyramid, it's this. And once you start kind of looking at the business.
I have no problem with pyramid. If it's a pyramid,
the reality is that every single business.
It is a pyramid.
It has layers to it.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Huh?
But it is the way that you potentially build a tree. And when you kind of start to understand, first and foremost, like our agents are going to save, on average, nearly $5,000 a year in brokerage fees.
Yep.
So our team will save nearly $300,000 a year in brokerage fees.
Broker fees, franchise fees, royalties.
Correct.
And they're getting the same team resources anyway.
Nothing changes with the team. If anything, some of our systems are going to enhance now because we now have the ability to plug things into the systems that we are building internally with.
And you're putting this money back into their families' pockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So money going back.
It sounds pretty simple to me.
Well,
so where is like why most people don't understand the model or don't get it? What do you think the issue is?
Because they don't take the time to study the model without judgment.
Or they have a problem that we both had with the person that delivers the cup of tea for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? We can also change that by not being.
Yeah.
By actually educating people. But you know, I know that our team, we attract people. Like we would have people that would walk in the front door of the brokerage to join the team. Not the brokerage, they would join the team.
Yeah.
And you know, clearly, I mean, it is a model that puts money back in the pocket of the agents. It gives the agents now the opportunity to be an owner. And that's the reality of it too. It's like when you understand business and if you sit there and you take off the realtor hat and you put on your business hat, say, okay, well, the company redistributes 50% of the company dollar back to the agents who have helped attract agents to the company every single year, every single time that the agent does a transaction until they cap.
I always
you get money deposited into your bank account for that every single year that you were there.
What this money that is getting deposited in the bank account, Justin, is basically us as agents, always been, always will be, the only source of income to the brokerage system. So we pay broker cap fee, franchise fees, whatever that is, for the brokers to keep on running their business. But we get nothing in return, even though we're the only source of income. Well, as you said, eXp removed a couple components and redistributed the wealth and redistributed the money, give it back to the agent who are the number one reason for any brokerage to grow. You want to help us grow, then you are the one that shareholder because it's public related company. The agent will be like, you know what, I'm a real business owner.
I used to get iPads for that.
Imagine you got Apple stocks.
Yeah, I know.
Back then. That would have been a different story, not iPads.
Yeah, right. But that goes to show, like, again, how brokers reward their agents for the growth.
So I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
Have you ever referred a client outside of Calgary?
100%, all the time.
And did the agent on the other side of the city, after the deal takes place, send you a check for 25% referral fees?
Yes.
Would you say this is something that's commonly used in our industry?
Yes.
And why is that? Why is that agent sent the referring agent 25% referral fee?
Because you sent them business.
So I am the only reason for this agent to get their 75%.
Yeah.
So they're thanking me politely, respectfully, by giving me 25% referral fees.
And this is what essentially eXp does, is they thank you for the contribution to the growth of the company, and here is a portion of the revenue in which the company made from you bringing in this agent. So they're handing out referrals.
Somehow that became pyramid scheme.
I guess so.
Okay, we all know it's not. It's basically redistributing the wealth, and there is two people or two components in the normal traditional franchise model that has been eliminated. And the growth of eXp model or revenue share models is not in their best interest. They are the only one that hurt by the growth of eXp.
And you know what? I'll say this too. The traditional brokerage models, I mean, again, many amazing brokers out there, but they also recognize that, you know, this is a disruptive model to the traditional model. And, you know, as, you know, they're going to say things to plant seeds of doubt that they won't work, this and that. Because again, they're sitting in fear.
Yeah.
And that's the reality as well. And I just wish that, you know, and again, I had many conversations with people high up in the RE/MAX system to try to see if, you know, they would evolve or change. But the reality is that they are very limited to what they can do because they are a franchise model.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, Justin, the disruption that eXp causes is not only for the benefits of the agents, but it also created a perfect as it can get of an exit strategy to the current broker owners.
Oh, yeah.
What is your take on that?
You know, it is an exit strategy for them.
Yeah.
You know, and again,
if I'm a broker owner now, and I'm of the belief of like, you know what, eXp, whatever, I'm just talking crap about it because it eliminates me eventually. I can look at it as it's eliminating me, or like I can embrace that because it's an actual exit strategy for me.
You know, the reality is that, you know, I know broker owners who have brought their brokerages over.
We all know.
Because they see that it's a model that they can't compete with, but they know that they have influence. They know they still have relationships with all these agents in their brokerage, and they can still mentor and guide them by eliminating the overhead, the financial risk, the broker risk of all of their agents, and then set themselves up for a financial freedom after they have done that, because the reality is, who is the buyer for their franchise?
Even if I found a buyer for my franchise, I get paid once to exit.
Yeah.
By me running my brokerage at eXp Realty and leveraging my entire network and relationships, I get paid every single year.
Wow, you get paid every single month.
Well, yes, obviously. I mean, like annually instead of like only one-time payment. And God forbid anything were to happen to me, my family will inherit that.
Yeah.
Assuming one of my family has a license with the company.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, again, we chatted about this a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a friend that unfortunately recently passed, and, you know, again, his family now gets taken care of.
100%.
And that's meaningful, and that's, I think, something that all of us got to sit here and think about is like, what is life after our career of selling real estate? You know, many people will carry on and have their license till the 60s, 70s. You know, because again, they're driven by the transactions and they got to make the money.
Yeah.
And, you know, the reality is that if you're an agent and if you attract 2 people per year, and you do that for 5...
Only 2 per year?
Only 2 people per year.
So I don't have to go out and XPing people in people?
Or puking on people?
No, I don't have to do that?
2 people per year. And let's say those people, they make over $80,000 a year in commissions. You get you get taken care of, but you do that for 5 years, 2 people, and then those 2 people bring in 2 people a year, so they follow the same thing.
Okay.
2 people per year.
What would that do
After-
for me?
$348,000 per year.
So I don't have to go outside and recruit, because what you're telling me, as a good realtor that sells real estate, I will automatically have a build relationship with other agents. If 2 agents attracted to the brokerage per year, I refer 2 agents to the brokerage per year. Over 5 years, I'm going to have 10 people directly sponsored by me. And if any one of them did the same thing, which is focusing on selling real estate, and then attracting 2 people accidentally per year over the same 5 years, I will have 110 people.
Yeah.
110 first line, and then 100 on the second line, and that will equate to $348,000.
Yeah. Not to mention the stocks and all the other things as well. So this is where, like, I think we really need to just kind of sit and look at it. It's okay. Real estate will always be our core focus of selling and helping and serving families in our community.
Yeah.
Selling real estate, right? All the other stuff is in addition to.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of people perhaps has gotten this model wrong is they've thought that they can go into this model, stop selling real estate because, you know what? I've been selling real estate for 18 years. I'm tired of selling it. I'm just going to recruit now, and I'm going to go and sit on the beach because that's my retirement plan.
Yeah.
And I say the people that do that are doing it wrong. They forgot what brought them to a place of success in the first place.
Yeah.
And they stop doing that. Of course, their business is going to go down when they shift their focus.
I've got some good news for them. If you don't sell real estate to generate revenue, if there is no revenue, there is no share. It's called revenue share. So we're going to have to create the revenue in order for it to be shared.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Yeah. So again, that's simple math too, right? And simple understanding.
So now, if somebody's asking themselves, I'm like, where the hell is all of this money come from? Stocks and like $340,000. Like, where is printing money, watering down the stocks? No, because the money that eXp pays you, it's going to get paid anyway to anybody. Right now, this money gets paid to only one person, which is the broker owner of the brokerage that you're at.
Yeah.
Which brings me to what you said of like, are we want to build a business? So now, as a realtor, as team leaders, do you want to have a business? Or do you actually have a business? Or are you at a business that has you? Because being in a normal traditional brokerage, you are at a business that has you.
Yeah. So this is where also where I went as a team leader. I said, you know, I could have started my own brokerage and started up a team brokerage that I would own. But I look at this model, now you become partners with all my team members. They get to now attract people to the team because we have the resources, the brand, the leads, the support, the training, the development, the coaching. All of those things become an asset to every single team member that they can use in that attraction piece. So if anybody's like, hey, what's it like over at the Justin Haver Real Estate team? What are you guys doing there? Now they're going to get compensated from the brokerage to help grow the team, but at the same time, the team has the resources to help support them to build wealth for their retirement. And if we can all use this team as the vehicle, you know, my vision here is to help my agents build their retirement. And at the same time, build wealth through selling real estate and teach them how to build generational wealth for their families, but at the same time, again, not losing the core focus of selling real estate, because that always has been, always will be our main focus, and that is selling real estate.
You're giving them a purpose behind selling it. Now you have a meaning behind selling these houses.
Yeah, and they have the ability to look forward, whether, if you know what, and I was speaking to the gentleman who brought me into the business and brought me into the previous brokerage. And I said, you know, perhaps the only regret was that we didn't do this in 2005. We can't go back. It can't go back, right? But this is a model even for agents that are getting into the business right now. If they're looking at a career of 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, man, I can only imagine what it would look like if...
What do you have to say to somebody that says, well, it's a little bit too late. I should have came early on.
No.
Why is that?
Because you know what, I think, especially here in Canada, there's still a massive opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
I think that, a lot of Canadians haven't gotten educated on the model yet. And I think
We're going to document this moment here. As of right now, we have 6,200 agents at eXp Realty. For you saying that there is massive opportunities, we just want to remind any and all our friends and entrepreneurs, bigger team leaders, aspiring agents,
broker owners,
yeah, that there is only 6,200 agent eXp Realty in Canada,
yeah,
out of 140,000 licensed agents.
Yeah.
This is the amount of massive growth that we have ahead.
Yeah, and it is, and again, there are always people that are coming into the industry as well. Yeah. And I think that, again, you guys have built this up to, 90,000 so far, yeah. And I know that there are aspirations to grow this to 500,000 agents.
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe that once people start to understand the model, it will go there. Mm-hmm. And, it is just purely just dropping the ego and looking at the numbers. Because again, once you start looking at the math and understanding the numbers, mm-hmm. It's really a no-brainer.
I agree. Well, brother, we are honored to have you here with us. I'm partnering with you, and I can just say that the future is bright, and the amount of thousands of lives that we're going to be changing by giving them a better way of doing real estate. It's a better way of selling real estate.
Yeah, and you know what? We also have the ability to impact eXp and the direction eXp is going as well.
Yeah.
Because it is an agent-owned company, and because we can provide feedback and recommendations on how we want to also shape the company going forward. So, for me, Ibrahim,
brother, it's an honor.
Thank you for opening up my eyes and allowing me to kind of swallow my pride and ego a bit and being wrong, because clearly
it takes a real humble leader like you to say what you just said.
But again, the reality is, Ibrahim, is that it is a model that works. It's been proven already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I think it's an opportunity for everyone to explore the opportunities and the impact that it can have on themselves and their families.
Yeah.
Because there are additional income streams that are available to those who want to participate outside of selling real estate. And again, I want to just remind everyone that you became a realtor to sell real estate.
Yeah.
Stay focused on that, because that's where you're going to make your
100%,
money.
100%.
Right.
Us, Justin, and all of our business partners within eXp Realty, we're production-based, production-focused network. And anybody that want to align themselves with us or get into close proximity with us is for only one reason, is how can I sell more houses?
Yeah.
How can I grow my team to be where you guys are today? That's who we are. We're gonna always be that way. We're not gonna change, and we're just gonna reap the benefits of the other advantages that we didn't have where we were before. We're gonna continue being who we are, selling real estate, but plus some other advantages that we didn't have.
Yeah.
That's literally the only difference.
And the value that we bring to our agents. So
100%.
Again,
100%.
Thank you.
It's an honor, brother. Thank you.